Hello and welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger on November 9, 2023. This video is proudly sponsored by Hidden Corner Find. As you can see on the sign here, the link to the shop will also be included in the video description if you're interested to check them out. They have really cool collection of action figures and toys and antiques and retro goodies. If you have been trying to figure out what to give for Christmas, what to buy that's going to be totally unique, check out Hidden Corner Finds. They're proudly owned by Canadian, and also for a lot of buyers, they will combine shipping and offer pretty good discount. So check them out. Now, of course, this guy in front of the screen is very familiar to most people because we use him as size comparison all the time. Yes, we are looking at Captain America. Because today we are celebrating World Freedom Day, and there's not going to be too many other people that's more qualified to open the episode with than Captain America, because this soldier has always been fighting for freedom and uh, the justice and all that stuff. Like if you want to talk about a very self-righteous superhero who's got freedom and justice and American value written all over him. Yeah, Captain America is one such guy. So we'll definitely be looking at him a little bit later when it's time to do size comparison. But for now, we are going to use him to open the show as we talk about World Freedom Day. World Freedom Day was declared by President Bush in 2001 to commemorate the fall of the Berlin Wall as of 1989. This day has also been recognized and declared by President Obama and President Trump. And on this day, it's quite significant because back in 1989, when East Germany and West Germany finally reunited and the Berlin Wall finally went down, it was the beginning of a new era, the end of socialism and communism and the end of the Cold War. So, yes, it was a really big deal. And I am totally talking about it as if I knew about it all along, but I really didn't know anything about it today until I researched it today. But yes, World Freedom Day, definitely a very important day and worthy of a celebration. And for this day, I actually did find us a very, very suitable action figure. Yes, even more suitable than Captain America, if that can be believed. And we're going to bring him in right now. A lot of you probably have never even heard of this character. I definitely didn't know about him. Even when I purchased him, I didn't know exactly who he was. But there's a bit of a funny story about that. But if this was a real world character, going by his biography, he would have lived through the fall of the Berlin Wall, and he would have lived during that time when East Germany and West Germany were separated. Let me introduce you to the superhero, super spy, super assassin by the name of Maverick. The man whose code name eventually became Maverick was originally named Christoph Nord, and he was born in East Germany before the end of the Cold War. His life was pretty much plagued by tragedy, as many comic book characters seem to be. He grew up fighting against the tyranny of the Soviet Union and became an assassin and freedom fighter, trying to free East Germany from the clutch of the Soviet Union. Unfortunately, his brother fought on the opposite side. His brother was actually fighting for Soviet Union. So when they met on the battlefield, Christoph Nord was forced to have to kill his own brother, and that memory haunted him for a long time. Later, one time during a mission when he was wounded in battle, he was in recuperating in the hospital, and then he fell in love with a beautiful nurse, and then they got married and had kids, and then he found out that this nurse was actually a double agent, a spy for the enemy side, and then she tried to kill him, and then he was forced to kill her instead. So yeah, that's like a double whammy on the guy. And after that, he contemplated suicide. He contemplated uh, ending his own life and giving up and all that stuff. But eventually, he was recruited by the CIA for their Project X program. And from there on, his life was basically a never-ending cycle of being sent out on missions and uh, usually fighting the good fight, but usually sent to do dirty work for the government, hunting down criminals, hunting down mutants and supervillains, and he has fought guys like Sabretooth, Omega Red, and many, many other notable supervillains. He has also teamed up with Wolverine and guys from the X-Force and other superheroes and worked hand in hand with the X-Men on multiple occasions. But he's never really quite a X-Men, X-Force team member. He's always been like a government operative. He worked for the United States government. So you can say that he's a super mutant assassin that is a patriot and a soldier, and he doesn't really do the whole superhero thing. He's more like someone the government would send out to deal with problematic superhuman. Christoph, or we'll call him by his code name Maverick, stands about 6'3" and weighs 230 pounds, and is usually seen clad in a heavy, heavy suit of specialized armor that is sometimes gold, sometimes yellow in coloration, and he wears a black bodysuit. Underneath, he also is outfitted with a breathing respirator, a specialized mask that concealed his identity, and a backpack on his back where he can store extra energy. And here is where we are going to talk about his superpower or his mutant power. As a mutant, Maverick's superpower was really ill-defined. Like a lot of guys that were invented in the 90s for comic books, he was kind of that guy that no one really knew what he was about. His code name, Maverick, had nothing to do with his ability. And even people who read comic books a lot of times didn't know who he was or exactly what he could do. Mostly you just think, okay, big armored robotic looking guy that uses a lot of guns, and that's it. But his mutant power is actually he can absorb kinetic energy. For example, when he falls from a 10-story building, rather than killing him, that kinetic energy can get stored up and absorbed by his body. He has also been experimented on by the Weapon X program, which gave him some little degree of healing ability, like a regeneration power. And later, after he was killed and resurrected, his kinetic energy absorbing power also got amplified, so he's able to not only absorb kinetic energy, but store them up and use them for his own purposes, like fire them back at his enemy, like kinetic power, or use them to set things on fire sometimes, or redirect bullets, and things like that. So basically, you throw a punch at this guy rather than hurting him. When you hit him, that energy get absorbed by him, and he's going to use that energy against you. Yeah, it's kind of a hokey power because honestly, there has been a lot of superheroes, mutants in the 90s that their powers are described pretty much the same way. Off the top of my head, I'm kind of thinking that Strong Guy from X-Force, basically did the same thing. I think Rage from the Young Avengers did the same thing, and I think Bishop from the X-Men also did the same thing. So it's not a very unique power, not a very flashy power. It seems to be one of those superpowers that writers would say, okay, we don't know what power to give to this guy. We just give him kinetic absorption power. So every time he get hit, he can use that energy to hit people back. That's it. The funny thing about Maverick is not only that he's not very well known. Like a lot of people, like I said, that read comics didn't know who he was. When I bought him, I had no idea who he was. Like, I honestly bought this figure because he came with a piece of the build-a-figure uh, that I needed. The piece I needed to complete Strong Guy. Uh, and so when I bought him, I was like, okay, well, I read about him on reviews, watched some videos on YouTube, but no, I had no idea. Like I was like, okay, so he's like a guy in armor and he has guns. Okay, that doesn't sound very interesting. I don't know the guy. I don't know what he is about. So I just figured, okay, well, I'm just going to get him for the body part I needed, and he's not going to be anything that special. And then when I finally got him in hand, I went, oh, I remember this guy because I remember that back in the 90s, uh, this figure that we're looking at came out in 2020, by the way. Back in the 90s, maybe 1995, I remember getting this one character from the ToyBiz X-Men toy line, and I had no idea who he was. He's this weird looking character in the wacky looking armor with a big cannon on one hand, and he has this squidgy water gun thing on his back that if you push or you squeeze it, and if you fill him up with water, you squeeze it, water will shoot out of his the cannon on his head. And I remember that character really well because of how weird, how wacky he was. And so when I finally got Maverick here in my hand, I was like, oh, this is the guy. This is the guy that I remembered. And looking a hundred times better, bigger, and more cool. But the messy hair, the big bulky armor, and the kind of a robotic look design, that just brought it all flooding back in my mind. It's almost like meeting up with an old friend. That's a really cool experience. And honestly, even though I think the character doesn't have much of an interesting story, uh, he he's basically the guy that okay, he has a tough life. He was a freedom fighter, and then he got recruited by the CIA, and then every now and then he appear in the story, working for the government and helping out X-Men or other mutant superheroes, and get his mission accomplished, shoot a lot of people, and go back to report mission accomplished. That's it. Like the guy is not really all that interesting as story go, but as an action figure, he is actually quite satisfying in hand, um, especially nowadays when Hasbro is giving us nothing but repaint and repaint. Every supposedly new figure is another figure with bodies or body parts that we've seen 1,000 times already. Maverick here is a breath of fresh air because every piece on this guy is brand new, and I haven't even seen them being used again on any other character. So this is a completely unique sculpt on a character that hardly anyone even know about. Size-wise, he is pretty chunky. I mean, he's nowhere as big as Sabretooth or Omega Red or uh, obviously not nowhere like Hercules or Thor or those guys. But he's definitely bigger than the guys like Gambit and Cyclops and Wolverine or Iceman or Spider-Man. Um, he might be, I think he might be a little bit larger than Captain America. We'll see when we bring Captain America back near the end of the video for size comparison. But addition to him being quite big and hefty, and all the joints feel nice and tight. There's no wonky loose joints, and his sculpt being completely original. He has a lot of overlay pieces like the respirator, the backpack, the bandolier, the belt, the pouches. All these are add-on pieces. So it's actually quite amazing how many pieces, how many separate pieces went into constructing this guy. Like I said, he's from the 90s, from that era where, there's the only thing you need to know about them is they look cool and they have guns. So he definitely have guns. He come with this gun in his right hand, which looks like a pistol, like a sci-fi futuristic pistol that has a round, bulky silencer on it. Now this pistol, if you guys, I don't know if you guys saw in the beginning of the video, was holstered on his right hip. There is a functional holster on his right hip, so he doesn't have to hold onto this gun all the time. And then for his left hand, I just have them this way. You can have either left hand, right hand. It's not. I just figured that since the holster worked for that silencer gun, then it makes sense for that to be on the same side as the holster. Now, so on the other hand, in the other hand, he has this square off. Uh, I guess that's like a machine pistol. Um, and this one looks pretty cool. It has two uh, ammo clip or magazines stuck to it. Almost look like for grip on a gun. And yeah, this is one of the characters that going to show up with one gun in each hand like this and just start spraying bullets everywhere until either enemies are dead or everything start blowing up and then mission accomplished. For size comparison, we bring Captain America back and with them standing side by side, we see that they are very comparable in size. So the Maverick, I think, is like maybe a quarter of an inch taller than Captain America. And with his robotic futuristic armor, he definitely seems a lot thicker and heavier around the torso. Here's another character that is from a product of the 90s, known to look cool, show up with the guns blazing, shoot a lot of people. Basically similar to Maverick in many ways. This is Phantom Max. And Phantom Max and uh, Mavericks together, you can definitely see that Mavericks is huge next to Phantom Max. I mean, Phantom Max is not really supposed to be a big guy anyway. He's kind of like a small slender type. And here you can definitely see there's a definite size difference there. And here we have Deathlock, who is again another character that basically superpower is like have guns, shoot a lot of people, and again looks very similar. Well, not similar, but look definitely same idea from Mavericks, and again, Mavericks look to be larger than Deathlock, although I have Deathlock here crouching down because of how heavy his weapon is. So if he can stand straight, maybe he would be taller than Maverick. But Maverick definitely got more bulk than him. That specialized armor definitely gave him a lot more heft than a lot of other figures his own size. So that's it, folks. Thanks for checking out today's Toy Thursday. I hope you guys enjoy a look at this very minorly known superhero, super spy, super assassin, and hopefully I'll see you guys again tomorrow on Fitness Friday.